Hello, ninth graders. Welcome to English class. Today, we're going to have a really fun lesson. But in the meantime, I want everybody to open up the chat feature on Zoom, and we're going to take attendance. So I want you to write your name, your full name, as well as today, let's include your favorite ocean animal, just to make it fun. So if you want attendance to count, open up that chat, put your name and your favorite ocean animal in the chat. And that's how we're going to do attendance as we're waiting for everybody to join us. As you guys are doing that, I want to remind you guys that we just finished the book, The Giver by Lois Lowry. So as you write your names in the chat, I'm going to go ahead and partner you up with someone and put you in a breakout room. And you guys are going to work on a worksheet together, okay? So I want you to just take some notes on the side. That can be either on a paper next to you or on a Word document if you want to open up a second tab. But you will be sharing these notes with the class for a group discussion. It doesn't have to be formal. It can just be note-taking. So I'm going to go ahead and put you in those breakout rooms right now. So go ahead, go through all of the prompts with your partner, write down some notes. There's not really a whole lot of wrong answers for this, so just go based on your reading of the text. All right, you guys. I hope you had a good time with your partner. Hopefully you guys came up with some good answers. Some folks that want to share, go ahead and do that right now. You can drop some of your answers to the questions in the chat. But I want to encourage you guys to all answer this question. What is The Giver about? If someone came up to you and said, oh, you read The Giver. What's that book about? I've never heard of it. How would you answer them? There's a lot of ways you can answer that question, right? You could answer them with something like, I see people in the chat saying, oh, giving the plot. What exactly happened? It's about a boy named Jonas who lived in a very interesting society where his job assigned to him at age 13 in his teenage years is he is going to be the carrier of all the knowledge, the forgotten knowledge of his society. You could say that is what the book is about. You can also say the book is about freedom. The book is about censorship. The book is about happiness. It's about a lot of things, right? So those are things like topics, right? Another thing you could say is something a little more deep, a little more profound, like the theme of The Giver is it's better to be free and have struggles than to be constricted and controlled and not understand what true happiness is. Okay, that's a mouthful, but that is what theme is. So we're gonna be talking about theme, and let's go ahead and talk about what exactly that means in literature. A lot of you guys have heard the word theme used in reference to other things. Things like a birthday party. A themed birthday party is when you go to the store, Party City, and you want to have a Paw Patrol birthday or a Monster High birthday or a Captain America birthday. And when you have a themed birthday, you don't just have Captain America on your cake. You have Captain America on everything, on your decorations, on your games are themed around Captain America. You've got Captain America food, whatever that would look like. And so think about what theme in literature would be. In the meantime, I'm gonna play a little video for you guys, and hopefully that will answer our theme question a little bit better. Sorry, guys.
What happens when Romeo and Juliet meet? Right, they fall in love. So we could say that love is a subject of the story. But what keeps them from living happily ever after? Why does the play end like it does? You could say it is their fate. So, fate is another subject of the story. But what is Shakespeare saying about love and fate? Fate conquers love. This is a theme of the story. Theme is what the author is saying about his or her subject. However, a story can have more than just one theme. What could be another theme of Romeo and Juliet?
All right, you guys, so hopefully that video in all of its cheesiness explained a little bit about what theme in literature looks like. He gives an example of some topics or some subjects, he says, of what is in Romeo and Juliet. Talks about love, talks about fate, but it's a little bit more complicated than that. So let's talk about theme for a little bit. All right. So, what is a theme? Let's talk about it. It's what a story is about, right, you guys? So, just like your themed birthday party is gonna have Captain America wherever you go, what is everywhere you go in a story? It's a topic, a message, all throughout the story. So, if someone were to ask you about the book Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, I know you guys read that in 8th grade last year. A lot of you did. So we're going to use that as an example, and hopefully you can still follow along if you haven't read that book. What is the story about? Write in the chat real quick what Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe is about. There's a lot of ways you can answer that question. Okay? The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, one way you can answer that is it's about 4 siblings who find a mysterious wardrobe that takes them to a magical place called Narnia. That's accurate, right? That is a true statement about Narnia. That is what Narnia is about. This plot right here. That's the thing. This is plot, which is important. In order to understand a story, you gotta know the plot, right? You have to know what goes on. The plot of The Giver, young teenager, lives in a very weird society where things are black and white and really restricted. His job becomes having all of their secret history. Okay. So the literal interpretation, what is the story about? That is plot. So that's what the story is about. But what is the story about? It's about a lot of other things, right? Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe is a story about all of this stuff too. It's about self-sacrifice. It's about faith versus doubt. Remember when Susan doesn't believe Lucy is going through the wardrobe? There's a faith and doubt conversation. We've got good versus evil with Aslan versus the White Witch. You've got themes of justice and mercy with people taking other people's place in the justice system and the deep magic. There's all kinds of crazy topics that Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe deals with. So all of these brainstormed ideas are topics or subjects. The video we watched, I believe, says topics or subjects. I like to use topics, but either one works. We're going to kind of use them interchangeably. So the topics. We'll deal with these topics. So if you were to take any one of those topics and turn it into a more fully fleshed out sentence, or if you were to ask yourself, what does the author say about justice and mercy? What does the author say about self-sacrifice? You could come up with something like, just because something is unusual or unexpected doesn't mean it can't be true. You could say something like, true love is self-sacrificial and it's given to someone even if they don't deserve it, right? That's a message that C.S. Lewis has in this book. Good will always triumph over evil because love is more powerful than selfishness. Notice how all of these statements come from these topics. We basically took some topics, maybe even combined a few, and turned them into statements. That is the true message of Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Okay? These are themes or theme statements. A full sentence that describes an author's belief about his or her own work. What is the message of the story? There's what's a story is about, and there's what is the story about, right? Lion the Witch and the Wardrobe is about some kids who go to a magical land, but it's really about self-sacrifice. It's about good versus evil. It's about how true love is self-sacrificial, okay? So, how do you find the theme? The first thing you want to do is when you are reading a story or watching a movie or watching a TV series. By the way, there's themes in all of these types of stories. You want to take note when something important happens. So you want to make sure you're annotating your work. So when you're reading a story and something interesting happens, something that you feel like, ooh, this is going to be important, I want you guys to be using a highlighter, a pen, making some kind of scribble, making a note, highlighting the section, write a star, something next to the really important stuff. Post-it notes is good. If you're on a Kindle, your Kindle comes with all of those activities, all those tools, as well. It has a highlighter tool, Post-it note tool. I want you guys to start getting used to using those when you're looking for theme. Note those important moments. You also have to read or watch or listen to the whole story. Guys, you can't figure out the theme based on one chapter. You can't learn about the theme at the beginning. Sometimes you can guess it, but you're not going to know the theme by just the first chapter or the beginning or just the end. You gotta read the whole thing. Because remember, the theme is everywhere. The theme's on the birthday cake, the theme's on the streamers, the theme's on the games. It's all throughout. And lastly, you're going to look for patterns that deal with the same topic. So when you're seeing these important moments pop up, you're going to see what kind of patterns they have. So let me just give a little example from Chronicles of Narnia, okay? Let's talk about some important big moments in Chronicles of Narnia. One of those big important moments is when the White Witch starts giving candy to Edmund, spoiling him rotten. And then as soon as he says that he's not going to want to bring her more humans, she starts treating him like garbage, remember? So I made a little note here that says she seems kind, but everything she gives to Edmund is so that she can manipulate him. That is a big moment. That is a big character trait right there. Let's talk about this moment right here. Why is this guy risking his life for a kid he just met? Mr. Tumnus works for the White Witch. His job is to find kids for her. And when he meets Lucy, he changes his mind and decides to risk his life so that she can go free. Okay? If I was reading this for the first time, I would put a big star next to the moment where Mr. Tumnus is crying and telling Lucy to leave. Okay? That's a big moment. And of course, there's the biggest moment in the whole story, right? Aslan himself taking his place, taking Edmund's place, sacrificing himself so that Edmund can go free and satisfy the deep magic. That's a huge moment, okay? So that's a note I would put in that moment when I'm reading the book. If you guys look at all these three moments, what do they tell us about this story? What does C.S. Lewis believe? Okay, all of these moments point to the topic of selfishness, like this, versus self-sacrifice. Okay, we've got good characters sacrificing themselves for others. We've got a bad character who is the epitome of selfishness. What we learn about love is based on selflessness and self-sacrifice. So we know that this is a topic. Okay, so how do we turn the topic into a theme? So next, once you've chosen a topic, you're going to ask yourself, what is the author trying to say about it? C.S. Lewis is not around anymore, unfortunately, but if he was, he might answer something like this. True love is self-sacrificial, and it is given to someone even if they don't deserve it. Okay? What can we learn about C.S. Lewis and how he thinks about self-sacrifice, what he thinks about love based on what we have learned from Narnia, okay? We could argue that this statement is the main theme of Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. This theme right here. What is C.S. Lewis saying about his own work? Okay, just some real quick tips to remember. And also a reminder, keep those questions coming in the chat. I want to make sure everybody is awake and paying attention. I know this is a lot of info, but don't worry, we're going to be working with this stuff for a long time. You're going to have plenty of time to work in groups. So some things to remember. There is more than one right answer, okay? As you saw, we could make a huge list of topics, a huge list of subjects, okay? There's not one definitive official theme of every story. You could write all kinds of theme essays about different themes on the same book. You guys will probably write some theme essays on the same book and they will look completely different from each other. And that is okay. That's good. Okay. The other thing is, remember, themes are referenced through the entire story. Okay. Captain America's on your birthday cake. He's also on your games. He's also in your food. And that's kind of a crazy metaphor, but I'm trying to drive it home. The themes are referenced through the entire story. It's not something that's going to pop up at the beginning of the story and then never be touched on again. Self-sacrifice all throughout Narnia. Okay. Themes have to be backed up with evidence, okay? You can't just say the author is saying something and then not provide any evidence. Just like when we're doing argumentative essays, you can't make a statement without backing up your claims. So if you're going to say that there is a theme in a story, you have to prove that that it is a theme with evidence. Also, the theme should be specific, not vague. So I'm gonna give you guys some examples of some bad themes. Well, not bad like inaccurate, but some themes that would not get very high scores. So being selfish is bad. That's true. And that's certainly true in The Witch in the Wardrobe. But that is too vague. Being selfish is bad. So many stories deal with that. You could say Spider-Man is about this. You could say that Paw Patrol is about this. You could say that The Giver is about this. Sure, like you really could say this about almost any story. Being selfish is bad. Too vague. You want to be specific. Here's another not so great theme. Turkish delight can get you in big trouble. It's true, and it happens in Narnia. But that theme is not throughout the entire story. Turkish delight gets Edmund in one sticky situation, but the issue is much bigger than that, right? And that's the only instance in the whole story that Turkish delight is a problem. And also, you could swap Turkish delight out with anything and it would still be the same story. So not specific, or too specific and not throughout the entire story. Next, for not a great theme, would be brothers should be nice to their little sisters. This one's also not a huge theme throughout the story, and it's maybe a little too specific. That's such a small part of the story. Brothers being nice to their sisters, it's not really all throughout. That doesn't really affect Aslan at all. It doesn't really affect the witch at all. It's kind of more of a Edmund, Lucy, Susan, and Peter thing, right? We want to pick a theme that covers the whole story. Okay, guys, we're gonna play a little game. We are going to break you guys up into groups, and you guys are going to find the theme of a story that hopefully you enjoy. So I picked four stories that hopefully everyone has seen at least one of these. Either you've read the book, watched the show, or seen the movie. If for some reason one of these you have not seen, please give me a private message and we'll add a fifth group. But I want you to look at these stories and you're going to pick one that you are familiar with, that you've seen from start to finish, and hopefully you've seen recently enough. So if you can't tell from the pictures, we've got Harry Potter, the whole series, or you could do just the Sorcerer's Stone, if that would be easier. We've got Finding Nemo. You could also do Finding Dory, but I think doing just Finding Nemo is the easiest. We've got Avengers Infinity War. I recommend limiting this to Infinity War and Endgame. Don't do the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe, that's too many movies. Just do Infinity War and Endgame. That's a big popular one most people have seen. just those two. And lastly, Stranger Things, okay? From Netflix. So go ahead and write in the chat which one of these groups you want to be placed in. I'm going to put you guys in groups, and then we are going to do a little activity, okay? All right, everybody's mentioned what group they want. Okay. I want you guys all to do a quick screenshot of this, this screen. And this is what you guys are going to be doing in your groups. You're going to make a list of topics that your story talks about. So those are going to be those quick 1 or 2 word things like love, fate, destiny, selfishness, good versus evil, the eternal struggle against the corruption of power. All of those things you are going to list out. You can either do it on scratch paper, you can do it on a Word doc, whatever you'd like. This is like informal writing. The biggest thing is I want you guys to discuss this and work together. Next, you're gonna pick one. After you've brainstormed, you guys need to all decide collectively on one topic that you feel is explored the most in your story. Narrow it down to one. Next, you're gonna ask yourself out loud, what does the author, Pixar, or Marvel say about blank, the topic? What does Pixar say about love? What does J.K. Rowling say about the struggle of good and evil? You know, you're gonna say, what does the author say about blank? Then you're gonna finish this sentence, and I actually want you guys to write this down. The author wants readers to know that blank. I'm gonna put this right here. J.K. Rowling wants readers to know that this statement. The writers at Marvel Studios want viewers to know that this statement. Okay. So after you've made your theme statement for your story, and you guys only need one for your group, you're going to brainstorm 3 examples of evidence in your story that supports your theme. 3 moments, 3 characters, 3 pieces of evidence that support your theme, okay? I'm gonna give you guys some time in your groups to talk about those, come up with that theme statement and your 3 pieces of evidence, okay? All right, we're gonna do that for a little bit and move on. Okay, guys, you've just finished your group talk. Let's share about the themes of Harry Potter, Infinity War, Stranger Things, and Nemo. Make sure your video and your mic is on. I want you guys to verbally share. I need to hear from every single group. What is the themes of these stories? And how hard was it to find the theme? How hard was it to find evidence? Okay. All right, you guys, you did great today. Let's talk about your homework before you log off today. What you guys are gonna do is you're gonna pick 3 of your favorite stories, and you can pick from any type of source material. I want this activity to be fun. So when I say story, you can pick a book, you can pick a novel, you can pick a comic book, you can pick a movie, you can pick a TV series, you can even pick an album of music if you can make the argument that it has a proper theme, okay? And you're gonna recreate that group activity that we just did for 3 stories. I recommend doing a little bit of each, like maybe doing 1 movie, 1 book, 1 music album, mix it up a little bit. But make sure it's something that you really like and it's something that you think that you could talk a lot about. And I want you to come to school tomorrow with these things for each one of the 3 stories, okay? So you're gonna do all of these 3 steps 3 times, okay? Each story gets 3. 1, you need the main topics in each story. So that brainstorm list of good versus evil, love, death, self-sacrifice. Do that for every story. A theme statement, so that's the author says blank about blank, okay? What does the author say about that topic that you selected? And then you're gonna do 3 pieces of evidence. I want your theme statement to be in a full sentence, and then your evidence can literally just be bullet points. Okay? So 3 stories, main topics, theme statement, 3 pieces of evidence. Want you to put it in a document and bring it to school tomorrow. I'm excited to see what you guys come up with. Theme is such an exciting thing to talk about. I know sometimes when you talk about literature, it doesn't seem like it applies to your regular life, but consider when you start breaking down the messages in your movies, in your music, in the shows you watch, you're going to understand what those messages are that you're consuming. You want to make sure that you're critical of the things that you are listening to and repeating and preaching and are a fan of. And looking at the theme is one of the ways that you can dive a little bit deeper and look at the messages that are in the things that you watch and the things that you read. So I hope this is a fun assignment for you guys. I hope you learned a lot today. I'm going to stick around on Zoom for a little while just so I can answer any questions that you guys have. Have a wonderful rest of your night. Bye.